8:33 right now, and there are more than 4 million breast cancer survivors here in the United States.
This morning, we're going to introduce you to one who was inspired by her illness to give the gift of healing. She created essential care packages filled with items to help both women and men get through the different stages of their breast cancer journey, and they are called Cara Kits. And this morning, she is here to tell us all about them. So welcome, Cara Kit founder and breast cancer survivor, Kelly Whitten.
Thanks so much for having me. Hi, guys.
Great to have you here. Can you share a little bit of your story on when you were diagnosed?
Sure. It was in 2020, a couple of weeks after the COVID lockdown, which was terrifying. I had just had a clear mammogram about 2 months before. They said, all clear, come back in a year. But I felt something a little strange. I did my first virtual appointment with my doctor. She actually said they miss in mammograms about 20% of the time, which was a giant shock to me, absolutely. But I went in for an ultrasound and then the biopsy and was in chemo 2 weeks later.
So, and you listened to your body, which was the most important thing, right?
100%.
So then you go through these treatments during COVID.
Yes.
So what was that whole experience like? Because it's isolating in itself when it's not a pandemic.
Yes, for sure. You know, it's funny, there were some good things and some difficult things. I mean, I think I want to say thank you to all the doctors and nurses and everyone who was working during that time. You know, they had all of the regular work that they were doing with cancer patients, but also all of the scares and uncertainty around COVID as well. The main thing was that we couldn't have anyone with us. I had to drive myself to chemo and drive myself back. And, you know, but ultimately you're sitting in a chair with an IV in. I would bring the laptop, watch a movie, you know, it ended up being okay. And then I think what the challenge that a lot of people have is that obviously chemo especially takes down your immune system so much that in some ways it was actually a lot easier because we were all in our little pods. I was just with my family, so I felt relatively safe during the process.
But how did that experience then inspire you to create this, the Cara Kit?
Yes, well, I was getting beautiful gifts from friends and loved ones, you know, flowers and gorgeous food baskets, and the flowers would die and I couldn't eat any of the food. And, you know, to me, it felt like there was a giant conversation that needed to happen about what people actually needed to help with the side effects. You're in a chemo chair one time every few weeks, but you're at home the rest of the time trying to figure out, why is my body doing this? Why are my eyes watering and sticky if I'm being dehydrated? You know, and part of it is when you're dehydrated, your eyes water more, so you need more eye drops. Things that, you know, to be honest, you have to reset your entire bathroom. You can't use the same products that have lots of fragrances, lots of chemicals. Sadly, that's what's in a lot of our products now, and we make sure that these are relatively safe, what doctors would ultimately recommend. We have 3 doctors on our board that don't have chemicals, dyes, fragrances, parabens, sulfates, and that people can use and are safe and calm on their body.
And you know firsthand, obviously, what goes into it. What's the name? Cara Kit.
Cara Kit, yes. So it's 3 different words together. Care, obviously, that's English. Cura, my father is Italian. My maiden name is Maltagliati, so you know.
Just a little Italian.
A little Italian. So in Italian, it actually means not just care for yourself, but care for everyone else as well. So it's those 2 words together. And I have a really good friend who is Irish, actually lives in Dublin, and the word Cara in Irish actually means friend. So it's all of those things together.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. So it's not just one size fits all kind of deal, right? So explain how it works.
So we have 3 main kits, one for chemo, one for radiation, and one for surgery. All of the items that you need for each of those treatments really are different. We have some items like these PJs that are soft, that are buttoned down the front, so if you have had surgery, you don't have to lift it over your head, right? And we also have instruction cards for each one, and that, bizarrely, is, to me, the key to a lot of the Cara Kit items. This is going to sound strange, but we have one of these tape lint rollers, right? You can buy them at CVS or Target. Bizarrely, whenever you lose your hair from chemo, a few weeks after, it starts coming out in clumps, and at a certain point you have to use a razor on it. But sadly, whenever you lay down, usually the first night, it feels like pins are sticking you in the head. They're little pieces of hair that don't come out even with a razor that can really hurt. So if you take this, you roll it over your head, you lay down, it's smooth as silk. So we've had, it was actually a professional hairstylist that said, please put this in. And she would use it every day before she would put on a wig wig or a scarf.
When
Wow.
you order them, obviously, can you curate, like this is, obviously there's ones for women and men. Can
Yes.
you curate what goes in them, or are they kind of preset to what
We
you want?
curate all of it,
Yeah.
so it's not just me. I obviously have had my experience, breast cancer, and that actually moved to my brain earlier this year. I'm doing fine, but
Good.
it, you know, I definitely go through the process and have used all of these items. And to be honest, it's especially the chemo kit. It's like my dream kit of everything I would have ever wanted. But we do surveys, we do interviews, we take information from anyone who has used the kits as well, thousands of kits, to make sure that we're staying up with what people are using and what's new out on the market.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how can people purchase one and purchase
Yes.
one maybe for a friend or family member?
Absolutely.
Or themselves, really.
Absolutely. We're at carakit.com, CARAKIT. We recommend, especially on the larger kits, that potentially you look at a group purchase. We make sure that the price of each of the kits is cheaper than if you were to buy every item separately, because it's a lot of stuff. But if you're getting our biggest chemo package that's in like the $300 range, that's something you want to go in with friends and family on. But we have things as low as $5, so it's
Yeah.
really across the spectrum of what you can do.
Yeah, and how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I mean, I'm on chemo pills every day.
Yeah.
It's, you know, just what you do. But, you know, it's a club I never wanted to belong to.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm really honored that I'm here. It's interesting. We're in Breast Cancer Awareness Month specifically. And I remember getting also some gifts in the beginning that would have a lot of the pink ribbon on it. And it didn't connect with me at the time. That's part of the reason why we don't have a ton of pink in here. It's really about making people feel good and comforted and safe. Now I love the pink ribbon. I love everyone who's doing anything with it, right? But especially in the very beginning, it's a slow progress. And I think the more friends and family know about that, the better.
What's most remarkable, I think, is that you're still going through it, but during that, still launch something to care for other people, which just goes to show the kind of person you are at the same time.
Thank you.
We're glad that you are here.
Thank you so
We're
much.
glad that you are healthy, and really wonderful work that you're
Well,
doing. Thank
and
you for coming in.
Absolutely. Kudos to every woman and man who is going through this right now, truly. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.